Thank you for being here today. Today I'm presenting about the country Rye by J.D. Salinger. But the last time I presented, I did like short plot overview of my presentation, the last presentation. And today I'm going to make something different. This is a narration done by me because I want you to understand the whole book, the whole story, so we can analyze it and we know all of us what I'm talking about. So I'm going to turn the lights off and I will show you. Okay?
Around the 1950s and is narrated by a young man named Holden Caulfield. Holden is not specific about his location while he's telling the story, but he makes it clear that he's undergoing treatment in a mental hospital or sanitarium. The events he narrates takes place in the few days between the end of fall school term and Christmas, when Holden is 16 years old. Holden's story begins on the Saturday following the end of classes at the Pensy Prep School in Hagerstown, Pennsylvania. Pensy is Holden's fourth school. He has already failed out of 3 others. At Pensy, he has failed 4 out of 5 of his classes, and he has received a notice that he is being expelled. But he is not scheduled to return to Manhattan until Wednesday. He visits his elderly history teacher, Spencer, say goodbye. But when Spencer tried to reprimand him for his poor academic performance, Holden becomes a note. Back in the dormitory, Holden is further irritated by his unhygienic neighbor, Eckley, and by his own roommate, Stradlater. The Stradlater spent the evening on a date with Jane Gallagher, a girl whom Holden used to date and whom he still admires. During the course of the evening, Holden grows increasingly nervous about Stradlater's taking Jane out, and when Stradlater returns, Holden questions him insistently about whether he tried to have sex with her. Stradlater teases Holden, who flies into rage and attacks Stradlater. Stradlater pins Holden down and blows his nose. Holden decides that he has got enough of Pensy and he will go to Manhattan 3 days early. He stays in a hotel and not tells his parents that he is back. On the trip to New York, Holden meets the mother of one of his fellow Pensy students. Though he thinks his student is a complete pastor, he tells the woman made-up stories about how shy her son is and how well respected he is at school. When he arrives at Penn Station, he goes into a phone booth and considers calling several people, but for various reasons, he decides against it. He gets in a cab and asks the cab driver where the dogs in Central Park go when the lagoon freezes, but his questions annoy the driver. Holden has the cab driver take him to the Edmund Hotel, where he checks himself in. From his room at the Edmund, Holden can see into the rooms of some other of the guests in the opposite wing. He observes a man putting on silk stockings, high heels, a bra, a corset, and an evening gown. He also sees a man and a woman in another room taking turns, spitting mouthfuls of their drinks into each other's faces and laughing hysterically. He interprets the couple's behavior as a form of sexual play and is both upset and aroused by it. After smoking a couple of cigarettes, he calls Faith Cavendish, a woman he has never met but whose number he got from an acquaintance at Princeton. Holden thinks he remembers hearing that she used to be a stripper, and he believes he can persuade her to have sex with him. He calls her, and though she is at first annoyed to be called at such a late hour by a complete stranger, she eventually suggests that they meet the next day. Holden doesn't want to wait that long and wakes up hanging out without arranging a meeting. Holden goes downstairs to the lavender room and sits at a table, but the waiter realizes he's a minor and refuses to serve him. He flirts with 3 women in their 30s who seem like they're from out of town and are mostly interested in catching a glimpse of a celebrity. Nevertheless, Holden dances with them and feels that he's half in love with the blonde one after seeing how well she dances. After making some wisecracks about his age, they leave, letting him to pay their entire tab. As Holden goes out of the lobby, he starts to think about Jane Gallagher and, in a flashback, recounts how he got to know her. They met while spending a summer vacation in Maine, played golf and checkers, and held hands at the movies. One afternoon, during a game of checkers, her stepfather came onto the porch closest they came to making. Holden leaves the Avon and takes a cab to Ernest Jazz Club in Greenwich Village. Again, he asks the cab driver where he taxis Central Park going to Winter, and this cabby is even more irritable than the first one. Holden sits alone on a table in Ernest and observes the other patron with distaste. He runs into Lillian Signage, one of his older brother's former girlfriends, who invites him to sit with her and her date. Holden says he has to meet someone, leaves and walks back to the Edmund. Maurice, the elevator operator at the Edmund, offers to send a prostitute to Holden's room for $5, and Holden agrees. A young woman identifying herself as Sunny arrives at his door. She pulls off her dress, but Holden starts to feel peculiar and tries to make conversation with her. He claims that he recently underwent a spinal operation and isn't sufficiently recovered to have sex with her, but he offers to pay her anyway. She sits on his lap and talks dirty to him, but he insists on paying her $5 and showing her the door. Sonny returns with Maurice, who demands another $5 from Holden. When Holden refuses to pay, Maurice punches him in the stomach and leaves him on the floor. While Sonny takes $5 from his wallet, Holden goes to bed. He wakes up at 10 o'clock on Sunday and calls Holly Hayes, an attractive girl whom he has dated in the past. They arrange to meet for a matinee showing of a Broadway play. He eats breakfast in a sandwich bar where he converses with two nuns about Romeo and Juliet. He gives the nuns $10. He tries to telephone Jane Gallagher, but her mother answers the phone and he hangs up. He takes a cab to Central Park to look for his younger sister Phoebe, but she isn't there. He helps one of Phoebe's schoolmates tighten her skate, and the girl tells him that Phoebe might be at the Museum of Natural History. Though he knows that Phoebe's class wouldn't be at the museum on a Sunday, he goes there anyway. But when he gets there, he decides not to go in and instead takes a cab to the Biltmore Hotel to meet Sally. Holden and Sally go to the play, and Holden is annoyed that Sally talks with a boy she knows from Andover afterward. At Sally's suggestion, they go to Radio City to ice skate. They both skate poorly and decide to get a table instead. Holden tried to explain Sally why he is unhappy at school and actually urges her to run away with him to Massachusetts or Vermont and live in a cabin. When she refuses, he calls her a pain in the ass and laughs at her when she reacts angrily. She refuses to listen to his apologies and leaves. On Luton, Blues had spoken frankly with some of the boys about sex, and Holden tries to draw him into a conversation about it once more. Blues grows irritated by Holden's juvenile remarks about homosexual and about Luz's Chinese girlfriend, and he makes an excuse to leave early. Holden continues to drink scotch and listen to the pianist and singer. Quite drunk, Holden telephones Sally Hayes and babbles about their Christmas Eve plans. Then he goes to the lagoon in Central Park, where he used to watch the dogs as a child. It makes him a long time to find it, and by the time he does, he's freezing cold. He then decides to sneak into his own apartment building and awake his sister, Phoebe. He is forced to admit to Phoebe that he was kicked out of school, which makes her angry at him. When he tries to explain why he hates school, she accuses him of not liking anything. He tells her his fantasy of being the catcher in the rye, a person who catches little children as they are about to fall off a cliff. Phoebe tells him that he has misremembered the poem that he took the image from. Robert Burns' poem says, "If a body made a body coming through the rye, not cat's body." Holden calls his former English teacher, Mr. Antolini, who tells Holden he can come to his party. Mr. Antolini asks Holden about his expulsion and tries to console him about his future. Holden can't hide his liveness, and Mr. Antolini puts him to bed on the couch. Holden awakens to find Mr. Antolini is stroking his forehead. Thinking that Mr. Antolini is making a homosexual overture, Holden hastily excuses himself and leaves, sleeping for a few hours on a bench against Grand Central Station. Holden goes to Phoebe's school and sends her a note saying that he is leaving home for good and that she should meet him at lunchtime at the museum. When Phoebe arrives, she is carrying a suitcase full of clothes and she asks Holden to take her with him. He refuses angrily. She cries and then refuses to speak to him. No issue will follow him. He walks to the zoo and then takes her across the park to a carousel. He buys her a ticket and watches her ride it. It started to rain heavily, but Holden is so happy watching his sister ride the carousel that he is close to tears. Holden ends his narrative here, telling the reader that he's not going to tell the story of how he went home and got sick. He plans to go to a new school in the fall and is cautiously optimistic about his future.
So now we all know what we're talking about throughout that presentation. So you got to read the Rye in 1861, Jerome David Salinger. Jerome was part of a wealthy family in the United States, and many facts that appear in the story in the Get to the Rye are biographical facts about Jerome's life. He didn't graduate from university. He attended to many high schools. Actually, he was treated with military school. So those are part of the author, writer. Actually, he never wrote about the war because he was a soldier in World War II. And after when he came back to the United States, he wrote these stories. He wrote very short stories, and he didn't write many stories. For example, these are other novels that Jerome wrote. He wrote only four books, and these novels were published in magazines. In the New Yorker magazine, he used to publish stories, and then they created a book. Well, historical context was published at a time when the North American economy was growing up very quickly, in a very great way. The book caused a great controversy when it was released because of the language mainly. Language was different to what people was used to read. Sex, openly about sex, about homosexuality, stuff like that. And that caused some interest in the people, but some critics criticized the novel. In 1965, Salinger decided to disappear from this public life, and actually that was like opposite, because the figure of Salinger became into a cult figure. So he was like, I don't know, like Nicanor Parra for us, which he disappeared from public life. That was David Salinger did. The Catherine the Rye belongs to the modernism. Doesn't put much on interest and imagery, for example. Although there is some imagery in the book, I'm going to show you that. But it focuses more on the events that the characters go through. Not play the emotions, not the imagery. That's like a big difference. And this is one of the first novels in talking about sexuality, which is something that I just mentioned, and it was openly taught. I mean, he's a teenager talking about sexual and his position about sexuality, about homosexual, about the fears that he feels when he talks about sex. Okay, so characters, we have many characters. I think that you all maybe remember. Paul the Goldfield, the most, obviously the main character. But we're going to deal with the most important in the story. Obviously, Holden Goldfield. Holden is a teenager who was just expelled from school. Okay, so he's not scheduled to come back to New York, to Manhattan, until 3 days later. So he decides to go to New York anyway, stay in a hotel, but he's not going to tell to his parents. So he's going to be there wandering around. Actually, that's the story about his wandering, about plenty of things he does in New York. He calls phone to people. He goes to the lagoon to see the dogs. He's spending time in the cab and things like that, because he's wandering in his life, and he's wandering in his mind. Both things. Holden Caulfield is, I don't know if you remember, but he's very interested in children, in protecting children. Maybe we can infer this because he had a younger brother, Ali, who passed away. He had leukemia, so he passed away, and it doesn't mention openly, but maybe we can infer that he's affected by the loss of his younger brother, and he's also interested in Phoebe, which is his younger sister, and he tries to protect. Although the book is not from, obviously, it's not from the romantic period, from romanticism, he had this romantic view about children, about innocence, about purity in children. Another very interesting point is obviously his attitude towards sex. Holden calls him virgin during the whole book, the whole novel, but he's always trying to lose his virginity and criticizing the rest and trying to do everything, but when he has the opportunity to do that, he refuses. So it's like he has to make some decisions. He's very young to make those decisions. Extremely judgmental of almost everything and everybody. That's clear at that age, I think. When we were 16, 17, 18, we were always like judging the rest and thinking that we are the best of the world because we're centering in our minds, which is very similar to what I presented a few weeks ago in the Red Badge of Courage, which has some similarities with, for me, with this story. But we're going to talk about that in a few slides later. Okay, Phoebe Caulfield is Holden's younger sister. She serves to us as a guide for the book. Phoebe, that's one of his role. And although Phoebe is very young, she's 6 years younger than Holden, I think, and she understands things very clear. She gets angry with Holden when she deserves to be angry with him. She's angry at very common things, and she sees things that Holden can see. It's like a guidance for us and a guidance for Holden itself, because she's like the image of children, of innocence for Holden. Now, Mr. Antolini is the former English teacher of Holden in New York, Manhattan. He doesn't have this position of teacher, of authority towards people. He's like a person. He's like a real person, not this iconic teacher image that some of us have. And that's the image that Holden has from him. The thing is that when Holden is so interested and he's always thinking about sex and also about homosexuals. So there's no real evidence to tell us that Mr. Antolini was trying to make some sexual overture towards Holden, but as Holden is always thinking about that, he feels that. But we don't know if Mr. Antolini was actually trying to do something sexual with Holden. This part is very interesting because I don't know if you have ever heard about defense mechanism. The defense mechanism that we all have, that we all do, it's from psychology, from psychoanalysis, Sigmund Freud, all the stuff. Alienation is a self-defense mechanism. To be apart from the rest, to feel sometimes superior to those, but we know that that's not real. So this is a very important universal idea in the novel, the alienation. Because Holden always tries to be with someone, but at the same time he tries to be alone. So we have this interesting point of view of Holden's towards life, and alienation for him sometimes serves as to feel comfortable, but at the same time is a cause of his pain because he's alone and he wants to be understood. But as any teenager, he's not going to be understood, because they feel that he cannot be understood. So that's like loneliness represents for Holden. The painfulness of growing up. Holden, if you remember, goes to the museum. Holden goes to the lagoon. Holden remembers Jane Gallagher, and Holden tries to protect her sister, to be with her sister, to take her to Rye. Now, this is the painfulness of growing up. Why does Holden go to the museum? Because the museum, the thing is always the same. the museum is not going to mature. The museum is not going to grow. So in the museum, the things are going to be always the same. He goes to the lagoon to see the ducks, and he is always asking about the ducks because when he was a child, he used to go there as a child. He protects her sister because, and he's trying to take care of his sister because he's a child, he's a girl, the innocent. He is very interested in Jane Gallagher, the girl that we see at the beginning when Strand is trying to have sex with her. I don't know that, but really to the video, because Jane Gallagher was part of his when he was younger. So we have that idea. He's very interested in being young and not to be an adult. He's like scared of being an adult and that funniness of the adult world, which is something we're going to see now. This word is used during the whole novel. It's probably Holden's favorite word. It describes that. It's very specific. How he sees the adult world, what the other people do, how do they dress, how do they try to behave when they are in social circumstances. That's the funniness, and everybody is a funny for him. Literary devices. We've got a metaphor when he's talking about the cliff, which is a very interesting way of seeing things and what he wants to be, like the Catcher in the Rye. The Catcher in the Rye was the person who was trying to protect children from falling off a cliff, but he misunderstood a poem by Robert Burns that after that it was made a song. I'm going to show you the song so you can listen to that part. But in that case, we can see a metaphor. Okay, so as I told you before, modernism is not very interested in describing imagery as some other periods. However, we got imagery at some point when he's describing a museum, the museum that he loves, and it's very specific describing. As you can see in this paragraph, it's very specific describing that and that. Apart from that, it's not. There's not much effort in describing it very specifically, like some other novels where they describe like the colors of the sky and how the sky changes. It is not the case. This is very funny because irony. He says like he's a sort of atheist, but he believes in God. So it's probably because of he's a young man. He tries to tell like that, but he doesn't understand anything about what he's talking about. Simile, we got simile, which is the final literary device at this point. Now, symbols, we've got this. During the whole novel, Holden is always putting and taking out the hat. At some points he wants to use it, and at some points it is a symbol of individuality, and he feels like at some point comfortable with the hat. If I'm wearing this, let's say I'm wearing this hat, I feel comfortable, and I feel I want to be lonely. That's like what it represents. When I'm someone else, I take it out. So that's basically what the hat is doing in this book, and it represents that. It represents isolation versus the need for companionship, which is something that I just mentioned a couple of slides ago. The Museum of Natural History is something that I just mentioned also. Why the museum is a very powerful symbol, because it symbolizes, it freezes, it freezes the museum is freezed. Nothing is going to change there. Everything is going to be the same this year and the next year and 10 years afterward is going to be the same. And that's what Holden Caulfield is looking throughout the novel. To freeze like that moment. He doesn't want to grow old. The Dax in Central Park, everything is connected. He goes there because, as I told you before, he used to go there when he was a child, when he was younger. So that is why Holden is trying to look. And obviously the Catherine Rye first appeared in chapter 16. This is what I just mentioned. Singing the song Rubber Bomb Sound coming through the light. This was a poem, and then it was it turned into a song. The thing is that Holden misunderstood the song. So he understood the Catherine Rye instead of coming, a body gets a body coming through the light. That's why it is, not what Holden understood. So the song is a very, very old song. So these are some aspects that I mentioned before related back to courage. Has a very strong connection because it is what is called, just give me a minute, a Bildungsroman, which is a novel about a young character growth into maturity. Now, the issue here in Holden's Caulfield novel, in the Catcher in the Rye, is that Holden is not going, he doesn't want to grow maturity. So that's like in opposite to what a Bildungsroman is. He doesn't want to get old. So it's opposite. However, he is becoming older. He's becoming an adult. So why Kurt Cobain? Because it's very it's symbolized during the 90s. All this music, actually, that's why I decided to put music from the 90s in the video, reggae, Nirvana, that kind of stuff. Because that music was mostly dedicated to teenagers, to that generation where they belong, that they didn't belong here, which is what Holden Caulfield feel. Jerome David Salinger, because this good figure that I compare with Kurt Cobain, because they were both writers in different points, obviously, but they wrote about loneliness, about alienation, which is very symbolic. Peter Pan, obviously, because Holden is trying to be like always in the same point, and Peter Pan is going to be always a child. So that's my personal appreciation about and comparisons with this novel. So thank you very much for being here.